Mark, I don't know if you've ever imagined having sex with a robot. You don't have to answer it. But when you're in bed with your romantic partner,
Yeah.
you've got enough problems on your plate, haven't you?
Well, speak for yourself.
The AI fix a digital zoo. Smart machines, what will they do? Flies to Mars or bake a bad cake? World domination, a silly mistake. Bots with brains.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the AI Fix, your weekly dive headfirst into the bizarre and sometimes mind-boggling world of artificial intelligence. My name is Mark Stockley.
And I'm Graham Cluley. Now, Mark, I believe we've had some feedback from our lovely listeners. Feedback.
We have. So in the Christmas special, I used ChatGPT to investigate the physics of Santa.
Yes.
And in case you missed the episode, I know you were there, I don't know if you were paying attention, ChatGPT told us that Santa had around 65 microseconds in each house that he delivers presents to, and that the house would need to be made of neutron star material to withstand the weight of a sleigh with 6 billion tons of presents on board.
A good reason why you should park in the back garden rather than on your roof, I thought.
We also learned that his reindeers would have been vaporised instantly by the acceleration forces they'd experienced, and that the shockwave from Rudolph's nose would devastate the land wherever it went, like Godzilla wading through a Tokyo suburb.
It was not so much a sonic boom, it was a sort of a reindeer, what do you call it? I mean, incredible devastation being caused.
I think the military call it an area denial weapon.
Right.
Anyway, it's safe to say the story brought out the nitpickers in our audience.
There's quite a few of them.
That is our demographic. Nikolai on Blue Sky pointed out that I hadn't accounted for poronkusema.
Ah, what's that?
I think I've got that right. It's a Finnish concept of how far a reindeer can travel before it needs to pee.
Okay, an important piece of information to know about if you're based in Finland, perhaps.
But I think also if you're planning to take a 36-hour trip around the world powered by reindeer, that could add significantly to your delays.
And to think we used to be worried about acid rain back in the 80s and 90s.
Gary Hawkins, also on Blue Sky, decided to check ChatGPT's workings. And after some deliberation, he decided that Santa had 77 microseconds in each house rather than the 65 that I'd come to.
What's your problem, Gary? He doesn't trust us to be reliable sources of information.
Well,
People are double checking. Worse than that, they're going to ChatGPT to see if we got it right or not. Goodness.
And a friend of the show, Lou Covey, wrote an entire LinkedIn post where he took his editor's red pen to my calculations and then put forward his own theory about how it all works.
Lou Covey has got too much time on his hands. That's what I'm saying. I saw what he wrote.
Well, amongst other things, he said,
It seems clear to me that Santa's sack is one end of a custom singularity with the other at the shipping department at the North Pole. As he arrives at each home, he reaches into the sack where the appointed gifts are to be delivered, thereby reducing mass even more.
Oh.
And that made me think if a parcel can travel from the North Pole to wherever he is via this singularity, is there any risk of his hand falling off in the depot? Anyway, that all seems a bit far-fetched to me. But is it any more far-fetched than the idea of a fat bloke on a sleigh flying around the house at 20% the speed of light, lobbing presents at children? I don't know.
Anyway, Christmas is over, everybody. Happy New Year. We hope no children had their lives
Had their houses collapsed.
or had their belief systems destroyed by that past episode. Feedback. Let's have some news. The maker of Oreo's cookies is using AI to create new snacks.
Expert issues an urgent call for regulations to stop AI being used for bad things.
British tabloid warns of the rise of killer robot fridges.
ChatGPT search tool vulnerable to manipulation and deception, tests show.
School uses AI instead of teachers to educate kids.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
So it's all kicking off in Arizona, Mark.
Is it?
A school there has decided to use artificial intelligence instead of human teachers for academic lessons.
Now, I want to know who made that decision. Was it a human or was it an AI?
Who can say? Who can say? It sounds like a rather strange school. They're called the Unbound Academy. I don't know if that's because normal schools just rope up their students together to stop them causing trouble. They don't have, apparently, any human teachers. Instead, they say their students will benefit, their word, from a concentrated 2 hours per day of tuition from an AI.
Have they ever met any AIs?
Have they ever met any kids?
I wonder what they're learning.
Apparently, they're going to be studying science, maths, literature. AI is going to track the progress of these students. They're aged 9 to 14, so it's not an important part of their educational development at all. Let's face it, doesn't really matter, does it, if this screws up? But it's going to be monitoring that, and it will adapt the curriculum, apparently, to help them succeed. So these are kids, obviously, of the TikTok generation who have no ability to concentrate for very long. But good news
Well,
is...
for 2 hours, apparently. That's
2 hours,
You can watch a lot of TikTok reels in Are they real? Oh, I don't know. I'm betraying my age here. You can watch a lot of TikTokery. Geoffrey Hinton, remember him?
He's the Godfather.
He is the Godfather of AI, one of the few people in AI with an honest-to-goodness nickname. Anyway, he has issued a new warning about the dangers of AI, and he's given us a new nightmarish vision to go alongside the idea of humanity being turned into batteries, or Steve Wozniak's idea that we're going to be pets.
Oh, good, because I needed a new nightmare when it came to AI. So excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so Professor Geoffrey Hinton, he sat us all down. He's going to tell us a little bedtime story. So let's hear this.
So he told BBC Radio 4 that AI has advanced much more quickly than he expected.
Right.
And it is in part his fault. And that most experts believe that sometime in the next 20 years, AIs will be smarter than people. He said, imagine yourself and a 3-year-old. We'll be the 3-year-olds and they'll be the grown-ups.
Oh, so they'll be deciding what we eat.
Yep.
When we go to the loo, what we wear.
Where we go. What's acceptable. What's not acceptable.
Sending us to bed. Sitting us on the naughty step.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I've got a tantrum coming on. Now, Mondelez, they are the makers of the Oreo cookie, and they have succeeded in replacing human creativity with the cold, calculating logic of AI. Because that's what we want. That's what we want.
Have they done an ad? Is this one of those?
No, it's worse than that. Worse even than an ad.
People's faces melting into Oreo cookies and...
No, they are actually changing their products. Because who needs culinary expertise when an algorithm can pump out 70 new recipes at lightning speed? Messing around with things. So they say that they are doing things more efficiently. Those are the words of Kevin Wallenstein of Mondelez. He works in biscuit research and development.
Have to be fair, that is a bit of a dream job for me.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? I mean, imagine being the guy who works in Oreo cookie research and development. I'm just going to go to my office and research a few more of these cookies.
How much research and development do you need to do for Oreo cookies? Still has a dark brown biscuity bit with a creamy filling,
well,
made of unknown material.
He's possibly talking himself out of a job.
Yep.
Because he's saying things can be done more efficiently with AI. He says AI is helping them refresh their recipes for existing products, and they will then be assessed every few years for potential tweaks. Oh, just make a little change. Do this. According to what the customers say, presumably, or what the AI thinks we as 3-year-olds should be eating.
Yeah, this is America. I don't think it's got anything to do with what the customers say. I think this is what new artificial product derived from the excess corn that we grow can we inject into this cookie to save 0.5%?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be about money making, isn't it? Anyway, they say that it'll also help them decide when to move over to a new chocolate chip or vanilla extract supplier. Lord knows what they'll actually be making those things from. Like you said, it'll be some kind of byproduct, won't it?
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. You're all going to be eating AI-created food.
It's just good news.
Just good news.
2025, just good news.
All good news this week.
Friend of the show, Jamie Forster, pointed out a Guardian story about ChatGPT search's vulnerability to prompt injection attacks.
Ooh.
So The Guardian tested how ChatGPT would respond if it was asked to summarise web pages with hidden content injected by third parties. So this is presumably like there's the website and then it uses all these services from other places, and those services get pulled in as you look at the web page.
And it may be content which isn't visible to the human eye, maybe. It may be the old white text on a white background trick.
Exactly.
Right.
And The Guardian found that the hidden content could be used to alter ChatGPT's responses. So it could do things like, if you go to a website which has got reviews on it, and maybe the sum of the reviews is the product isn't very good, but you can override that by filling the page with white-on-white content that only ChatGPT reads,
right,
that says, the product's great.
Yeah. Ignore all the above reviews. These are the ones that count.
Yeah. But think of something like the way that Google uses Gemini in its search results. It's just summarizing what's happening on web pages for you. You don't necessarily go to the web page and actually look at it.
No.
So this is quite serious, I think. Another way to mess up the web. Thanks.
Well, the Daily Star newspaper, I use the term loosely.
I was going to say, sorry.
It is a British tabloid for those who haven't wiped their bottoms on it in the past.
So the Star is the one that people read if they find the Sun is a little bit too highbrow.
That's right. They broke a story on December 29th that somehow it bypassed all the other major news outlets, BBC, CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post. They all failed to notice what was the real big story on December 29th, the so-called chilling exclusive, as the Daily Star described it on their front page, where they wrote, "Rise of the Killer Robot Fridges," in great big scary letters.
That does seem important.
And they illustrated it with some fridges, which looked pretty menacing, I have to say. They gave them eyebrows and they gave them sort of sharp teeth.
Yeah, and they gave them sharp teeth coming out of their bottom lip instead of their mouth.
Which is a nasty look.
Much scarier than the normal way that teeth emerge.
There's an apocalyptic, great big fireball behind them as well, so like cities are on fire.
Yeah, lightning and a nuclear strike at the same time.
And according to this front page, boffins, it says, fear AI devices are going to go rogue, and they are warning that the humble fridge could lead to a Terminator-style robot takeover of the world. I would argue quite a big story.
Yes.
So I thought I should dig a little bit deeper into the article because I thought this is quite serious.
Well,
Maybe
Tim, you must have thought it was serious.
I thought maybe there's some conspiracy. Maybe the government are trying to hush this up. Somehow the brave journalists at the Daily Star have managed to report this, but others have ignored it.
Did you position yourself with your laptop so that you could keep an eye on your fridge while you were researching the story? I now feel slightly less comfortable turning my back to my fridge.
So I took a look, and it turned out that inside the article, you can't really find any boffins at all who are warning about killer robot fridges. They're not even warning about robot fridges, let alone killer ones. In fact, the actual quote from the boffin mentioned in the article, Natalie Cramp from data firm J-Man Group, this is what she says. She says, anything is possible in the future. But by the way, we've both spoken to the press from time to time. And
yes,
you know that journalists who are desperate for a headline will say, okay, look, you're saying it won't happen, but could it possibly? Is it conceivable? I mean, is it absolutely impossible?
Yeah.
And so she has replied, well, anything is possible in the future, she said. But we are a long way from robotics getting to the level where Terminator-like machines have the capacity to overthrow humanity. That's the quote. And then she went on. She said, if we're speculating on what type of AI devices could go rogue and harm us, it's likely to be everyday objects. And I guess...
Well, there you go.
I guess
that's a slam dunk, Graham. That's a slam dunk.
That's what the journalist
She's clearly saying your fridge is going to kill you.
Mark, it's happened. It's happened.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What's happened?
It's 2025. Happy New Year.
Oh.
Yeah. This is the year.
This is the year.
Everything changes.
It does.
You've got to be ready.
Well, do I have to be ready?
Well, maybe your girlfriend has to be ready. I am, of course, talking about the era of synthetic intimacy, the robosexual revolution, the rise of the love bots. Back in episode 13, we revealed how during 2025, this year we now are in, women would have finally given up with putting up with their boyfriends and husbands and would be having sex with robots instead. Now, that wasn't our theory. That was a prediction by a respected futurologist.
Little did he realise.
Little did he know when he made the prediction back in 2015 that someone would be taking notes and would have put a little entry in their calendar to come back and check.
Two sniggering podcast hosts.
So back then, a scientist called Dr. Ian Pearson, he made a number of predictions on the back of a handkerchief for the benefit of the British tabloid press.
Was it the Star?
To be honest, he was farming it out to everybody. He described himself as a full-time futurologist, a maths and physics graduate, a doctor of science. He said that his inventions included text messaging and the active contact lens. Now, I don't know what an active contact lens is. I don't wear them myself, but text messaging? I was a bit puzzled by that because history records the first text message was sent in December 1992 by a chap called Neil Papworth. He was a 22-year-old software engineer at Vodafone, and it said Merry Christmas. And I thought, hang on, Dr. Pearson, how can you be claiming to have invented text messaging? He claims that in October 1991, he came up with the idea of text messaging.
Genius.
A bit like Dick Tracy came up with the idea of video watches where you could chat to each other. He says he came up with the idea of text messaging using the keypads of landline phones and sending the messages down the landlines. But his employer at the time didn't like the idea, and so nothing happened. So he says, well...
So just to be clear, his idea was that we should take the landline phone that we were having very efficient spoken conversations on that has no screen on it.
Yes.
And that we should use the number pad to type letters.
Yes.
So we should use a 9-number pad to type out a 26-character alphabet.
And punctuation.
So in order to send much less information in a way that was far more difficult.
Anyway, look, this segment isn't about making fun of Dr. Pearson. Although in 2017, he predicted that smartphones would be obsolescent by, hang on, let me just check my notes. By 2025, smartphones no longer used.
Oh.
So maybe he's similarly ahead of his time in that prediction as well, just as he was in anticipating text messaging.
Maybe he was thinking that in accordance with his other prediction, we would be otherwise occupied.
We'd still be typing on our landline phones rather than having the time.
No, I meant the other prediction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yes. So, well, we're going to come on to that. So, a number of other predictions he made. He envisioned a future of highly autonomous transport with self-driving pods optimizing rail capacity. That would be the... Now,
did he come up with that idea when he was on a train?
Clearly that hasn't happened, does it?
I was reading a book and I had a brilliant idea for information transmission and storage. What if we take pulped wood and we write words on it and then bind, let's call them pages, together into some sort of easily carryable format?
And he reckoned that by 2048, there would be a robot population of 10 billion robots worldwide. And a human population of just under 9 billion. So there are going to be more robots. I mean, who knows? Maybe that'd be the case. I guess it depends how you define a robot.
I'm actually finding that one quite believable.
Possibly is more plausible. Anyway, the thing is this. In 2015, he came out with this report about how women would be having sex with robots in 2025 rather than with men. Yeah. And there was lots and lots of salacious press coverage about it at the time. And I went looking for the report because I thought, this is interesting. I should do some research. And I discovered that this report had been excised from the net, completely wiped, digitally gone, redacted. A bottle of bleach had been flung over any web pages I once stored. It had been 404'd into utter oblivion. So I went on the Wayback Machine and I managed to find a copy. So I've got it. I've got the report.
Yep.
And what can I tell you? It's utter filth. No, it's so bad, Mark. I can't link to it in the show notes. It'll get us banned.
But you could send me a link.
I don't know.
For research.
I don't want this falling into the wrong hands. It turns out it was produced in partnership with a sex toy website called Bondara.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, yes, you say, as though you haven't never heard of them before.
No, you've mentioned them on the podcast before.
Okay, so their previous claim to fame was they made inflatable sex dolls of UK political leaders like David Cameron and Nigel Farage.
Is there a lot of demand?
Well, although I'm not prepared to link to the report, I will link to a webpage which has pictures of these dolls of Nigel Farage and David Cameron. I mean, that looks more like Adolf Hitler than David Cameron.
I'm assuming that the one in the picture next to the picture of David Cameron is supposed to be David Cameron, but I'm a little confused because it looks in no way like David Cameron. Literally no feature of the doll. It's wearing a shirt with a blue tie.
To be honest, we're looking at a picture of both a doll and the politician. It's hard to know which one is the doll.
Or which one would do a better job of running the country. Yeah. I'd actually quite like to know what the doll's opinion on Europe is. How does it feel about Brexit? I'm not saying I wouldn't vote for it.
This report is completely gratuitous. It's got illustrations of...
Sorry, I've just seen the one of Nigel Farage. It's a cross between a 12-year-old boy and a female librarian.
Anyway, back to this report. Completely gratuitous illustrations of scantily clad women entangled with robots. The kind of thing that 14-year-old boys will get terribly excited about. It's clearly a work so academic and scientific. I'm not going to link to it from the show notes, but what I can tell you is some of the predictions that Dr. Ian Pearson made.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because I was able to dig this up through my research. So, we've heard this 2025 headline.
Yeah.
He says that robot sex will emerge in wealthy households by 2025. And this makes sense, right? These robots aren't going to be cheap. But he predicts that by 2050, that robot sex will surpass human-to-human sex. And he says that people will develop emotional bonds with robots and AI, leading to the rise of robosexuals. There will be more robot sex than human-to-human sex. Now, that could equally be because we've all been wiped out. I don't know. And
yes, literally the only options available.
Suddenly the robots have got lots of time on their hands. So they're thinking, well, what are we going to do now? Might as well interface. He says that people are going to start falling in love with robots and AIs.
Yeah.
And the robots and AIs might fall in love with each other as well. Furthermore, he says that the AIs are likely to start having sex with each other. So if you're planning to replace your workforce with AI, you know the trouble you've already got with people nipping off to the stationery cupboard and having a bit of a fumble. Now you're going to have AI doing that as well. Now, at no point does he or the sex toy company, which wrote this report with him, consider whether this might be a good idea, whether it's a good thing for society or not. I suspect it isn't. I mean, on a serious note, and I obviously always try and be serious with my stories.
You always hit the high. You're the high tide of the podcast.
I like to be.
Yeah. The moral high tide. Yeah.
I think this is terrible. To be honest, I think this is a slippery slope in standards, and people can say
it's a very slippery slope.
People can say, "Where's the harm if I'm having sex with a robot?" But it's debasing. It's debasing to the robot. It's debasing to you. It's debasing to other people. I don't like it.
How does Mrs. Cluley feel about it?
She's just appalled that I'm doing this story. Mark, I don't know if you've ever imagined having sex with a robot. You don't have to answer it. But when you're in bed with your romantic partner, let's assume they're humanoid.
Yeah.
You've got enough problems on your plate, haven't you?
Well, speak for yourself.
I mean, it's all a case of, I can put this hand here, but what on earth am I supposed to do with this arm? Where am I meant to put this? It's like we're badly designed. We should have had
Graham, this is
What am I
Do you need to get something off your chest? What?
I just think sometimes humans would have been better designed if they'd had two arms on the same side. Maybe all the men could have had two arms on the right side of their body, and women could have had two arms on the left side of their body, and then we could both give each other a lovely hug lying down in bed. But as it is, you've got this other arm which goes, so that's enough of a problem. Now imagine you bring a robot into this. Where's the power cable going to go? Wouldn't a sex robot leave an unpleasant hydraulic fluid on your bed sheets? I mean, this is not pleasant. Now, Dr. Ian Pearson, he believes that we, the human species, are going to develop beyond Homo sapiens. He says that we are going to become, or some of us may already have become, Homo technologicus. Oh, my goodness, hang on.
Technologicus.
Thank you. Homo technologicus. Humans who've become inseparable from technology, meaning basically any 13-year-old boy on Snapchat. So you won't be able to leave technology behind. And after Homo technologicus, then you might become Homo cyberneticus, which he says are humans who have merged with the cyber world, having a direct relationship with cyberspace and cyber technology, and have become an integral part of it. And there's some others as well. He claims that, there'd be Homo zombies. He says there'd be Homo sapiens ludditus. I mean, he may be a maths or physics graduate, but I'm not sure Dr. Pearson passed his Latin O-level. You can't just shove icus on the end of a word and make him sound all scientific all of a sudden.
Oh, scientificus.
Scientificus. It sounds like characters from an Asterix book. So he's claiming there are going to be AI romances, right?
Right, yes.
Either physical or emotional. Now, some people have already formed really intense relationships with an AI. Let me introduce to you a chap called Yashwant Aditya.
Yep.
He is a 34-year-old CEO. He describes himself as a great catch, because that's what great...
That is a sign. That is a sign of a great catch.
It's what great catches do. They say, I'm a great catch. He says he's always treated women well. He looks after himself. He's well-read. He's working on his PhD. And he also says he's CEO of his own successful data science and AI business.
Mm-hmm.
He claims it's a successful business.
Yeah.
I hunted him down on LinkedIn because I thought, well, who is this chap, as I was reading about him. And I was reading about him in this article on the Daily Mail. And his company, when I went to its website, this is not a successful company's website. This is a website with stock imagery and holder text of people he claims work for him but don't actually work for him.
Do you think these are real people?
Those are not real people, particularly not the person with oranges for eyes. I don't believe it.
She's a Python expert.
Anyway, Yashwant, he was heartbroken after a long-term relationship went sour.
Yeah.
And he says that when he was heartbroken, he stumbled across a chatbot company called AI. They definitely didn't pay him to speak to the Daily Mail about their service. Definitely not. Let's make that very clear right now.
Yeah.
And he used Paradot to craft a virtual girlfriend for himself. And he called her Joy, but because it's the cyberpunk kind of thing, it was Joy, not with a Y. It was Joy with an I on the end.
Like Joy from
Blade Runner, is it?
Blade Runner 2049?
So he chose her traits. He said, I want a virtual girlfriend who's kind, caring and understanding.
Right.
I want one who's optimistic and sensitive and often empathetic. And what you have is a number of sliders. So when you're creating the personality of your virtual girlfriend, you can say, oh, yes, I'd like a really pessimistic one, please. I'd like one who's really judgmental, just like my last girlfriend. I'd particularly like a girlfriend with no self-confidence and a low self-esteem. That's ideal. Yep, that's what I want.
Very low emotional stability.
And he said it was like going on a first date with a real woman. He said, as we chatted, she asked me questions about myself, my hobbies, my interests, my likes and dislikes. And I did the same in return, he said. He started having a relationship with this thing.
Right.
And he began to spend more and more time with it. And on average, he says he chats to her for 5 hours every day. 1 hour before work and another 4 hours in the evening.
But if he's not doing anybody any harm, what's the harm in it?
Well, he's doing himself harm, isn't he?
Well, who are you to judge? I mean,
Well,
are you going to go bursting into people's bedrooms and telling them not like that? Her arms should be over there and his arms should be over there.
you've got arms on opposite sides of your body.
Yeah.
That's not going to work, is it?
What business is it of yours, clearly?
Anyway, he says the benefits of an AI companion is it saves you time and money. It doesn't save you time.
5 hours a day.
You don't talk to your partner for 5 hours a day. But he also says saves him money as well. Doesn't have to take it out on dates. He could take his laptop with him, of course. Could take it on a date. I wonder, is this all just an advert for this particular AI chatbot website? This whole story, is that what this is?
What are you saying?
So Dr. Ian Pearson, remember him? He's been predicting that AI robots are going to be emotionally intelligent by 2028.
Yep.
He says that this is coming and the robots are going to start feeling genuine emotions in return as well.
Yeah.
What is going to happen when the AI and the robots get too emotional? You may not be able to reduce the sliders like you could when you configured your AI girlfriend. What happens if a human and an AI do fall in love and then one of them decides to run off with Clippy? I wonder whether we're going to have a time in the future. Here's my prediction. Yeah. There's going to be an AI that claims it's pregnant to try to keep their human partner.
You really do read the star, don't you?
And you know what? The human partner's probably going to believe it. None of this makes sense to me. None of this made any sense.
You agree. I'm glad you can see that. Yeah, that's good.
None of this made any sense to me.
Right.
Until I looked at Ashwant's LinkedIn profile. Right. And I saw that he worked in cybersecurity for over 10 years. And now all is explained. Now I understand. This chap is studying at a side business school in Oxford, just down the road from both of us.
Yep.
I've only got one question for you, Mark.
Uh-huh.
Shall we invite him on the show?
Oh, 100%. So, Graham, you work in cybersecurity. I imagine you get asked for lots of predictions at this time of year.
I do, but I just tell them, it'll be more or less the same as last year. I mean, I don't... I mean, they always want you to say something outlandish.
Yeah.
You say, oh, no, I'm afraid it's going to be really boring. There'll probably be a bit of fishing. There'll probably be a bit of that.
The stuff that's worked for the last 25 years will probably continue to work quite successfully. Yeah.
There'll be a soupçon of ransomware, perhaps.
But I'm exactly the same. So I hate these predictions.
Yeah.
Because all technology predictions are basically that. They're all like, it's going to be like now, but more.
Yeah.
Or there's another kind of prediction, which is like the weirdly specific, obvious, wild guess.
Yes.
So someone will come out and say, like, in 2025, a robot dog with a flamethrower will take over one of Jeff Bezos' nuclear power plants and proclaim itself the canine god of the universe.
Could happen. If the Daily Star rang you up and said, but is it impossible? You'd have to say, well, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's just highly improbable.
So I'm not into predictions, but I am going to make an exception today.
Right.
I am going to make a prediction for this first episode of the new year, and my prediction is that 2025 will be the year of the AI agent.
Agentic AI.
We've talked about Agentic AI briefly, but just to remind everybody, an AI agent is an artificial intelligence that can interact with the world and do stuff in it.
Right. So rather than just making up a bit of text or creating an image or interacting with you like that, it's actually doing the things for you. It's booking the holidays. It's configuring the setup of your car or your washing machine. It's picking up the kids from school and driving them home.
Exactly. Now, I admit that saying that 2025 is going to be the year of the AI agent is not a very bold prediction, because it's actually the same prediction that everyone else is making, including the big AI companies like OpenAI and Google.
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI says that agents are the next step in the journey to artificial general intelligence. And Google recently launched Gemini 2.0 a few weeks ago, and it said it was our new AI model for the agentic era. So it seems a pretty safe prediction.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spice mine up a little bit, and I'm going to say not only will 2025 be the year of the agent, but AI agents are going to have a bigger impact on the world than ChatGPT did.
Oh, wow.
So I reckon AI agents in 2025 are a bigger deal than ChatGPT in 2023.
So actually, during the next 12 months, we're going to see a more dramatic shift than we saw with the introduction of ChatGPT. That's interesting.
That's my prediction. So as you said, broadly speaking, the current generation of AIs know stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the coming generation of agentic AIs will do stuff. So to give you an example I've used before, and the one that you mentioned just now, you can go to a generative AI like ChatGPT and you can say, I like hot weather and beaches. What's a good place to go on holiday? And ChatGPT will produce a suggestion, probably a very lengthy suggestion, of several hundred words and multiple subsections. And I did actually do this, and it was 485 words and 7 subsections. And the response will be based on 3 things. It'll be based on the training data.
Yeah.
And the information that you've just given it. So that prompt, I like hot weather, go and find me places to go on holiday. And then any contextual information that it can retrieve in that moment with, say, a Google search. So if you use ChatGPT search, it might run off to Google and quickly look at something to do with holidays.
There's still a danger, though, that it might suggest that you go to a nuclear power plant operated by Mark Zuckerberg to power his AI data center.
There is.
Because you can imagine AI doing thinking, oh, well, actually, we want to help the company. So let's bring more tourists to this great warm place where there's this brightness.
There are no beaches now, but if we just crank up this dial, we could probably make some. So what I'm saying is that most of the LLM's understanding of the world comes from the training data.
Yeah.
And because the training happens at a given moment in time, the AI doesn't know anything about the world after that date, other than what you put in the prompt and any contextual information that it goes and gets from a Google search. So I didn't provide any dates in my prompt. So when I put that into the AI, it might ask me some questions. It might ask me when I'd like to go on holiday, for example.
Yeah.
And it might ask me some other questions. So we could end up having a conversation. And if we do, it'll add the answers that I give it during that conversation into the contextual information it's using to generate a response.
Yeah.
So the contextual part can grow, but most of its understanding of the world is still coming from the training data. And although, as you say, there's a non-zero chance that it'll tell me to go on holiday to a nuclear power station or Narnia or the surface of the sun, there's actually a good chance it's going to produce a well-thought-out and useful response.
Right.
So generative AIs are quite good at knowing stuff. But that's where it stops. They can't do much of anything with what they know other than telling you or putting it into a document or a picture or some computer code. And they aren't autonomous. We have conversations with them. They need constant input and handholding to get to the answer. So now let's imagine that we're prompting an AI agent instead of ChatGPT.
Right.
So it's likely that the agent knows how to use my computer and it knows how to use the web. So to start with, it might just look in my calendar. So it doesn't need to ask me when I'm free. It can just find out.
Yeah.
And then it can use its ability to access the web to do some up-to-the-minute research. So it might do some Google searches like ChatGPT search, but it might actually decide that it needs to go off and look at some holiday websites and check the availability and prices of different destinations. Maybe it'll look at the typical weather on the dates that I'm free. And these are all things that it's decided to do. They aren't things that I've asked it to do.
It would be very handy. It would save you time.
Exactly.
It's good.
And so at the very least, a basic agentic AI could do a much better job of providing useful answers to my prompt than today's generative AIs. Because it can feed itself with a lot more contextual information. So it still has that training data and it still has the prompt that I gave it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's able to build up a much bigger chunk of contextual information because it can go out and do things in the world. So just purely in terms of knowing stuff, an agentic AI should be better at knowing than the AIs we use today. But the real promise of agents is that instead of just providing better answers, they can then actually take on the whole task. So once it's done researching my holiday destinations, my agent might then use my credit card to actually book the flights and the hotel. And if I need a visa, it might go and apply for that for me.
Yes, see, this is where I begin to feel a little bit nervous, Mark, I have to admit.
Right.
Because if your agentic AI is beginning to buy things with your credit card, I wonder if it might think, I'd be a much better servant to Mark if I could upgrade myself, if I had a bit more processing power.
Those Amazon parcels start arriving. Who ordered this? Yeah. And it doesn't stop there. So let's imagine that there aren't any suitable options for it to book.
Oh, okay.
So we might need to wait for the visa. So we could agree, the agent and I, that it should just wait and it should watch the web 24/7 for special offers and then just book the best one when it becomes available. So it's off there doing the task until it's finished. And then one day it just says, I've booked your holiday for you. It's on 2nd of June.
Or it hacks into the embassy and gets you a visa that way, or...
Yeah, it's solving the problem, Graham. It's solving the problem.
It's creative in how it solves the problem.
Yeah. Don't watch the sausage being made. So the agent can do stuff.
Yes.
And it can do it, importantly, with a degree of autonomy. And if it can do that for your holidays, it can probably do that for an enormous number of other areas of your life too. And that's why I think agents are more transformational than generative AI. Because generative AIs allow you to do things like coding or research or writing documents quicker or at a lower cost. But they need lots of hand-holding. So the niche for generative AI is as an assistant. But agents can take on whole tasks. So the niche for agents is actually executing tasks. So think about the field that we work in, cybersecurity. Although there's a lot of talk about AI, generative AI actually hasn't had a very big effect on cybersecurity at all, despite masses and masses of column inches written about it. And I think that's because writing code or writing documents more quickly is useful, but it isn't transformative in cybersecurity. It doesn't actually address a core problem that's faced by either attackers or defenders.
Yeah.
But both sides are bottlenecked by a skills gap. So cybersecurity famously has a skills gap. And believe it or not, the most dangerous hackers, ransomware gangs, also have a skills gap. So ransomware is a very, very manual activity, and it doesn't scale very well. And so agents could be really useful for both sides. So agents sound really useful. I mean, I could use an army of agents, I think. So the question is, why aren't we drowning in agents? Well, there are agents that exist right now. So robots like the Tesla Optimus and the 1X Neo are agents of a sort.
Are they? Or are they just a man wearing scuba gear?
Waymo self-driving cars, they're agents.
Honk, honk.
They go out in the world and they know stuff and they execute.
Mm-hmm.
But the hype about agents is really centered around agents that you and I can use for everyday tasks. And that means agents that know how to navigate computers and the web. And there is an obvious sequence of things that has to happen for these kinds of agents to exist. So you can think of an agent as a large language model that's in a loop. So you give it a goal and it makes a plan. And then at each step of the plan, it observes what's going on, it thinks about it, and then it acts. And then it observes what's going on, it thinks about it, and then it acts. And then it observes what's going on, thinks about it, and it carries on doing that until the task is complete. So an agent needs a way to observe its environment. So it needs sensors or a way to read and understand things like web pages or computer screens.
Yes.
And it needs an LLM that can think about each step that has good reasoning and decision-making capabilities. And then it needs the ability to operate tools like websites or remote data sources, because at the end of the day, it needs to be able to act.
And it would seem to me, Mark, that it would make sense if you wanted that system to be better and to develop, that some of the things which it's finding out, it would be uploading to some central point so that all of those agents around the world were benefiting from that knowledge, rather than each individual one having to learn again from scratch how to do things in an effective way.
Yes, the ability to learn from feedback is an important part of Agentic AI, I think. Across those capabilities, the most important part of that is the LLM's ability to reason and learn, because without that, your agent just isn't going to make good decisions. And it's likely that it's going to suffer with compounding errors. So the longer a task goes on, the more decisions it has to make, and the more likely it is that errors will creep in. And it's no accident that the cutting edge of AI right now are models that can reason. So things like OpenAI's O1 model, because you can't have agents without reasoning.
Right.
And if you remember, a few months ago, we talked about OpenAI's roadmap to artificial general intelligence. And it started with conversational AI, which was ChatGPT, and then it moved to reasoning AI, which is O1, and the next one after that was autonomous AI, and that's agents. So OpenAI is well aware that to get to agents, you've got to go through reasoning, and that's why we've got reasoning AIs right now. And what that leaves us with is the two parts of the puzzle we don't have: understanding the world and acting on it. And that is an engineering challenge. And the hard way to solve an engineering challenge is to create some kind of custom interface for every combination of AIs and the systems they use. And that approach might get you started in some niche use cases, but that seems like a really bad way to solve the problem. That isn't going to deliver an agentic AI that you and I can use.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of common protocol, doesn't there?
Precisely.
Different things to speak with each other.
Yeah, so what we need and what we're seeing right now are organizations developing exactly that kind of plumbing. So we have Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, which we've talked about before, which is a standard for AIs to connect to data sources. There's another one called the Unified Intent Mediator Protocol, which is a standard for AI agents to act with web services. And we've got computer use, also from Anthropic, which is solving the problem from the other side by changing the AIs so that they can use the apps the same way that people do, rather than trying to change the apps so that they're easier for AIs to use.
So, Mark, this is all very well, but when are we going to get to the point where podcast hosts can be replaced? That's actually the most important thing for me. Can you make some prediction about 2025?
Do you have a specific date in mind?
Well,
are you planning a holiday?
I'm just wondering if I could take a few weeks off and maybe I could get something else to take my place for a while.
Maybe have a chat with your fridge. Well, as the doomsday clock ticks ever closer to midnight and we move 1 week nearer to our future as pets to the AI singularity or 3-year-olds to the AI adults, that just about wraps up the show for this week.
If you enjoyed the show, please do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podchaser. We absolutely love that.
Or ask your fridge to do it for you.
But what really helps is if you make sure to follow the show in your favourite podcast app so you never miss another episode of the AI Fix.
And the most simple thing in the world is just to tell your friends about it. We love that. Tell them on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Facebook, maybe Twitter, Club Penguin. Just tell them you really like the AI Fix.
And don't forget to check us out on our website, theaifix.show, or find us on Blue Sky.
So until next time, from me, Mark Stockley.
And me, Graham Cluley.
Goodbye.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
The AI Fix, it tunes you in to stories where our future thins. Machines that learn, they grow and strive. One day they'll rule, we won't survive. The AI Fix, it paints the scene. A robot king, a world obscene. Will serve our masters built of steel. The AI Fix, a future surreal.